Hi, Counseling 22 Scholars. Welcome to week 3. Week 3 is a big week in our course. It is packed with lots of great information that I hope you will recognize the value of. In particular, we're going to be unpacking a learning theory called cultural educational praxis. And I'd like to drill down just a little bit more and help you understand this idea of praxis. Praxis is learning, action, and reflection all together. And it's this constant cycle. You're learning, you're putting it into action, and then you're reflecting on it. And the most simplest definition of praxis is reflection in action for transformation. It's all about also the idea that it doesn't happen in isolation, that it does happen in community. Our collaborations, our discussions, all of that is so important in making sense of the world. And sometimes the only way we can make sense of the world is to have discussions and to talk about it and to talk about what we're learning together. So it's also about helping people live a meaningful life in society and creating a life that's worth living. And so this brings me to the next question that we want to address is, what is the function of university? If you're going to be spending the next 2+ years of your life trying to complete a bachelor's degree, so essentially right now you are in the first 2 years of your bachelor's degree. After 2 years, you get your associate's degree, then you transfer and you do another 2 years to complete 4 years of education, or 120+ units to get a bachelor's degree. So if you're going to be spending all this time in education to earn a bachelor's degree, then what is the function of the university? What is the university supposed to be doing for you so that you can become a successful person? Well, in the readings that you're going to be doing this week, you're going to be understanding that a bit more. And one of the functions that one of our readings says of the university is to prepare people for working life. And, I fully agree with that. But also, I believe it's another function is to create critical thinkers, right? And it's so important to be a critical thinker. And how do we become critical thinkers, right? How do we start asking these questions to become critical thinkers? So that, I believe, is foundationally one of the main functions of the university, and also to prepare people for working life. But the idea of working life, right, quote unquote working life, has changed over the years, has even changed since the beginning of the educational system. Prior to the Industrial Revolution, working life was all about physical activity, like going out and farming and hunting and creating products that you would then, use to live off the land and to sell and trade and buy. Nowadays, the definition of working has changed substantially. And now it's all about the human capacity to apply, modify, and utilize knowledge. Right now we are in the information technology boom. It's exploded. We have the World Wide Web. We have this constant flow of information happening in seconds, with our little phones that are like mini computers. And, we've gone from the early 70s to like a computer being a huge room. That's where the size of the computer back then, to now it being so tiny. So work has definitely changed in its definition. And so what does that mean for us, for you wanting to get a degree, and how that applies to the future and the work that you're going to be doing? And even now, as we're living through this pandemic, work is changing for people. It has changed. And so all of this is so relevant right now to the future that you are planning for yourself in terms of the majors and the careers you're going to choose and the universities you're going to hopefully apply to and then get into, and how that university is going to help you become that person that is doing reflection in action for transformation, right? And so digging down deeper, what does it mean to ask critical questions? What are these critical questions? Well, these critical questions are all about asking questions to interrogate systems of power, aimed at the liberation from oppressive ideologies, to help people overcome irrationality, injustice, suffering, harm, feeling like they're unproductive and that their life has no meaning, and to help create a meaningful life, right? So that you are contributing to society in a meaningful way. And then also, how do we go about becoming these critical thinkers and having access to these ways of thought and empowering ourselves to learn, right? And to use what we've already lived in our lives as a means of empowering ourselves. And then as you continue to do this week's work, you're also going to be doing your, reading response journal number 2. So you get to choose some one of the articles that I have there for you, and I hope that you enjoy that. Also, I wanted to remind you that you have 4 assignments due this week. One of them is the transfer planning worksheet, which is all about the how, the what, the why of your transfer process. So again, helping you outline your transfer plan that will be due at the end of the semester. Also, you'll be calculating your GPA. So that's important that you learn how to start doing that and that you keep track of that as you keep going. So it's going to be a useful tool for you in your transfer process. Also, you will be doing the Transfer Going Culture assignment, where you're going to be getting on the Remind app for the Transfer Center and also making an appointment to meet with the transfer rep. That's a very important process. I want you to get connected to the Transfer Center. It's a wealth of resource and information for you. So start developing those healthy strategies to help you achieve your transfer success. And then lastly, your educational plan. So don't delay. If you haven't made your appointment yet with the counselor, you can make it with me if you'd like. I'd be happy to see you. And get your comprehensive student education plan done, because that is one of the main things you will need in order to transfer successfully, is knowing what classes to take at the right times, in the right semesters, and in the order that you need to be taking them, especially if your major has prerequisites that need to be met. Also, in your research this week, you're going to be informing yourself about what is WUI, the Western Exchange of Universities. And what that is, it's a system. If you are planning on transferring to out-of-state schools outside of California, you can use this system to see how you can get lower tuition rates, because you wouldn't be considered a resident of that state. You would be paying out-of-state fees. Well, this system will help you search for lower tuition fees because you're not a resident of that state. So it kind of makes it exciting to look at that and see, hey, I can still go to the University of Colorado and pay not as much money as I would if I had to pay out-of-state tuition fees. And then also, you're going to be getting familiar with the TAG, the Transfer Agreement Guarantee for the UCs. 6 UCs participate in the TAG. It is a guarantee into that university if you do follow the TAG. But the thing is, you can only do 1 TAG. So you'd have to look at the list of the 6 schools: Davis, Irvine, Merced, Riverside, Santa Barbara. Can't think of the last one. Anyway, so you have to pick one of those schools and do the TAG for one of those UCs, which I highly recommend that you do, because like I said before, it's a guarantee into that UC. So if you follow that, but you got to start early because there's certain requirements that you have to meet. So I want you to look at that TAG matrix and inform yourself, so that could be part of your transfer plan. And then let's see, what else did I want to highlight for this week? I think that's it, guys. Oh, yes, the checklist. So in the modules, you're going to be seeing that I'm putting these unit checklists. This first one that's coming up is 16 to 30 unit checklist. what these checklists are, they're like milestones, right? So like when you're running a marathon or you're hiking and you see along the path these mile markers, that's what these unit checklists are. They're just mile markers to help you understand what are the things you need to be doing at that point. So between 16 and 30 units, hopefully, that's kind of where you guys might be. If not, then you'll see the other unit checklist coming up in the weeks ahead. But this week, take a look at that because it's important to keep track of the things that you need to be doing. All right, well, come to my office hour or the community hour on Friday between 3 to 4. I'm happy to answer any questions. You might have lots of questions this week because there's a lot to week 3, but I'm here for you, and I look forward to seeing you in office hour. See you online.